Douglas Bickford 6/13/21 at 7:32 a.m. on a Sunday morning. Never, never give up. Your attitude determines your direction. Those are just two of the positive affirmations I have in my house. And I got to pay cash for a 100-year-old house in Klamath Falls, Oregon. That's my hometown, and that's where I will spend the rest of my life. But I'm going to go traveling around in my RV with my truck. When I get my house all squared away, I'm making my upstairs room into a 70s black light, room and all that. The beanbag chairs. I'll probably have a bed up there in case somebody ever wants to come stay with me for a little while. But anyway, I'm teaching self-esteem on YouTube, okay? And here is the absolute get self-esteem on steroids, okay? It's called mirror therapy. It comes from a doctor, a psychiatrist. She has a PhD in psychology, so she knows the brain and she knows what she's talking about. And her name is Susanna McMahon. She wrote the book, The Portable Therapist, and all my knowledge and wisdom comes from her. It's not coming from Douglas Bickford, but besides all that, it comes from the Creator, who I call the Great Spirit. That's where I get my information from. He directed me to get this book. I mean, it's a long story how I got the book. But anyway, so the way to get self-esteem, self-love on steroids, and it is absolutely the most important thing you can have as a human being, is self-esteem, self-love. You have to love yourself before you can ever have a healthy relationship with another person, whether it's a romantic relationship or whether it's just being a friend relationship. If you don't have self-esteem and self-love, you will get into unhealthy relationships because you attract exactly what you are. Okay. You have to be able to live with yourself and love yourself before you can ever love anybody else, another person. Anyway, here's the one simple concept that will get you self-esteem on steroids. Just look at yourself in the mirror and say, I love you. Keep saying it over and over again. And don't tell anybody you're doing it, because they will criticize you, and then your low self-esteem will not, because you can't stand up for yourself because of your low self-esteem. Your low self-esteem will make you not do it, okay? So just do that, and I guarantee you, it will awaken. It'll fill that void you have inside you. We all feel it. Early in the morning, you feel it. You feel it when the facade is down. There's no external noises, because God is trying to communicate with you to fix you. And I am telling you how to fix yourself, and it comes from God. And he showed me I'm the absolute, and it works, okay? I'm the absolute, because I'm full of self-esteem, self-love now. Uh, got out of a toxic relationship almost 8 months ago, and I accidentally found a book in my son's driveway in his house that I believe his wife burned up so they could get insurance money because she didn't like making the $2,000 a month payment. I really believe that. And then, but whatever, I can't prove it, but that's just my gut instinct, which I believe comes from the Great Spirit, who I call God. Anyway, I found a book, ended up over there in his driveway, and she's an alcoholic. His wife's an alcoholic, and he's got no self esteem. She abuses him verbally, mentally, and probably physically. But anyway, she ended up kicking me out after 6 days after I paid him rent. Yeah, but it was all supposed to happen that way. God directed me there so I could find a book called The Portable Therapist, which has changed my life, and it can change your life too. You can get the book in a link and in the description of this video. Get the book, read it. Very short chapters, very readable. She doesn't use big words that you don't understand. There's a couple of them, but not like, you read books, you can't even understand it because the words are, they use big words so they can make them sound smarter or whatever. But the normal person just knows English, went to high school and graduated high school, so I know English. And I don't know, there's big words that I don't understand. So anyway, it's very simple to read. It'll cost you between $5 and $12. But the link will take you to where it's at. I think I link it to Amazon. And it's everywhere. She got 5 books out there. But this is one of her most important books, I believe, because she's teaching self-esteem because it's been trained out of us, okay? Be it all the social media, the television, the big one, churches, religions, radios, everybody uses all those things, material possessions to make yourself happy, and it never works. Anyway, I'm going through the book chapter by chapter. This next chapter is chapter 76, and it's or chapter 77 actually. Why am I still afraid of my mother or father? There are a surprising number of adults who ask this question. These are people who grew up in dysfunctional families and who were abused or intimidated by one or both of their parents. The wife I left, which is she's still my wife, it's 8 months ago almost, was abused by her parents, and she's in denial of all of it. I believe that the father sexually molested her, maybe even the mother. Okay, but it's all swept under the rug. And anyway, this is what is going on with her, but it's going on with a lot of you out there, and a lot of you are in denial of it. You have to get out of denial and accept it. Otherwise, you'll never get healthy. And you'll never have a normal relationship with another human being because you're stuck. By sweeping it under the rug and not talking about it, it will come out in other ways. Okay. And it always does. That's exactly what happened to my marriage. All that sex abuse and physical and emotional abuse she took from her mother and father made her, she always played, she was a very good singer and played guitar, so she was in a band a lot, okay? And she would play in bars. But she would take her daughter with her, who was like between the age of 5 and 10, 11, 12 years old, and make her hang out in the bar while she's playing up on the stage, okay? I mean, that music, that getting up in front of those people in a freaking bar where everybody's drunk anyway, right? With her daughter sitting wherever she put her. Probably got sexually abused by some drunk. And my wife is in denial of any of it. And her daughter and her they hated each other. Her daughter hated her, okay? And I believe she got sexually molested while her mother was in the stage, up there performing, getting her little weak ego by oogling in awe and all the people oogling and awing at her because she was a very good looking woman and she used her looks. And then she probably, what she said, she won't, when she told me when I married her, there's stuff I've done I'll never tell you about. She probably went and had sex with the band members and all that crap while her daughter was in the same room. Okay, because all that's what drugs and alcohol do. And that's what people in bars do, their meat markets. But she took her daughter in there and let her, just left her alone, a little kid. And then she wonders why her daughter, at 17 or 16, was slashing her wrists, screaming at her mother, "It's all your fault." This was the stuff that, just a little bit of what she told me was going on with her daughter. Okay, and then the daughter has like 4 kids, and then she was telling me what the daughter was doing to her children, which was grabbing him by the throat, throwing him up against the wall, right in front of my wife, right? And my wife never stopped it. She just let her do it to her grandkids. I mean, all the stuff that goes on in toxic relationships. And I didn't know. I was like, whoa. And November 1st, 2020, she threatened to kill my cat. And because my cat scratched her in the face. But this is all the stuff that goes on. And I left on November 2nd. I left it all, with the exception of my van sitting right over there. And an older RV, which was actually, we got free off Craigslist. But I still have them. I'm going to keep them. I mean, then I've got my life back because I ended up buying a house, paying cash for it in Klamath Falls, Oregon. I got all my toys, and they're just toys. I got my Harley. I got my 1-ton diesel Ford pickup. I got another F four-wheel drive, all four-wheel drives, F-250 pickup. I got my Harley, and I got my sports car I always wanted, which is a 2001 Mazda Miata. It's sitting right there. Beautiful car, man. It's like driving a roadster. I mean, a really fast, cool car. Anyway, I'm working on my house, and I am going to go travel and all that. And I have not gotten another toxic relationship because I got now I'm full of self love, self esteem, teaching how to get self esteem on YouTube because millions of you are going through the same thing that I just got out of, and you're going through it right now. And if you are in a toxic relationship where they are abusing you physically, emotionally, sexually, your children or your animals, get out. Get out and get away from it because it's never going to change. Get out. And if you see me, start saying I love you in the mirror. Your life will change, I guarantee you. Anyway, continue on here. Why am I still afraid of my mother or father? I'm going to start over. There are a surprising number of adults who ask this question. These are people who grew up in dysfunctional families and who were abused or intimidated by one of their both parents. And I just told you what happened to my ex-wife or whatever. She might be my ex-wife. I have no idea. Anyway, this fear may continue into their adult lives in spite of separation from their parents, including death of the feared parent. Her dad died in 2018 and didn't shed one tear. None of them did. None of her family. So there was something there that he had done to them. People who are not afraid of anything else or who are professionally successful may still harbor anxiety, which is a bad thing, and supposedly irrational fears when they think of or encounter this parent. Often these people revert to a childish state and act in immature ways when confronted by this parent. Large, powerful men and strong women quake when they have to deal with this feared individual. Even if the parent is old, sick, weak, and frail. Why? That's my wife moved in her 150-pound overweight, 5'0" mother into our house. And as soon as she moved her in, she started attacking me. And my wife still feared her because she just like, I could just tell, man, when she moved her in, it was like she, everything for her mother, okay? But she still feared her of the emotional abuse. And whatever, it might even been sexual abuse from her mother for all I know. I just knew a couple things that happened, but she was in denial of all of it. Why does this individual, or why are they afraid of them? Okay. This reaction is easier to understand if we are familiar with the concept of the inner child. Remember, this inner child does not grow up and is involved with our early feelings and reactions. When we are still afraid of our parent, it means that we are perceiving this parent through the eyes of the inner child. We all have an inner child, and I believe I already went through that chapter in this book. So that's why you got to get the book and read it because it explains all this stuff. We are perceiving this parent as a powerful, needed person that we're dependent. We are dependent on for our survival. And my wife is dependent on her mother again for her survival. 60 years old, don't have a job. Okay. When she hits 62, she'll get like $300 a month coming in. And her mom's 85. And so when I left, she had to rely on her mother just to buy her toothpaste, toilet paper, all that stuff, right? Because they inflicted so much pain upon us when we were little, we still view them as stronger than we are and able to hurt us. It made sense to be afraid of them when we were little, but it no longer makes sense to fear them now that we're able to survive without them. Unfortunately, my wife can't survive without her again. However, the inner child does not relate to this type of rational logic. You cannot reason with a fearful child. You must understand and relate to the feeling. Once you learn to parent your inner child, then you can see your hurtful parent with your adult eyes. You can begin to see his or her insecurities and needs and weaknesses. You will then see through his or her so-called power over you, and you can let go of the control that he or she is exerting over you because of your fear. You will view this parent as a person in the world rather than an object of pain. If you can separate yourself from this parent, you will see the evil in the abuse, and you can choose not to participate in this abuse. You can get out of the victim role. Do not try to change your parent or have him acknowledge or apologize for the evil that has been done to you. This parent may not ever choose to do so, and you may produce more pain for yourself. Instead, change yourself, and this is exactly what I've done. Because I had a very evil father who sexually molested us. Me and one other brother and 4 sisters. I was the youngest. He destroyed the relationship that we ever had, could have had. None of us. Parent your inner child and give your child the support, encouragement, and security you needed from your parent but never received. Do it for yourself. What this parent could or would not do for you when you were a child. If your parent is still abusing you, get out of the sick system. And my wife is living with her mother now, and the mother is still bullying her around at 85 years old. And my wife is still cowering down to her, bowing to her every wishes. I mean, it's sad, really. Practice self-esteem and stay away from discouraging others. Okay, that brings up a whole nother thing. My ex-wife, okay, first wife, her parents live in the same town I live in. Yesterday, I swore I wasn't going to go up there and see them because they live in the same town. I took my Harley up there, which I bought my Harley, parked it in the driveway, walked up, and they're like, he's 91, that's her dad. Her name was Denise. His name's Ken. He's 91. His wife is 88. They're those people have been together forever, and neither one of them had self-esteem, and they stuck it out in a dysfunctional relationship. But they always had money, okay, so they could buy their happiness with money. But I had to go up there for again. I wasn't going to go up there, even tell them I was back in town. I did it, and exactly what I thought would happen. They have not changed one iota. I'm a piano player, right? They have this old piano sitting down in their basement. I pulled up in my Harley, went up to the door, shook hands with Ken. He hadn't seen me, who knows how long, a couple of years, I guess. And I was married to their daughter for 16 years, so they'd be like my parents, right? I never had parents, and he's like he's on the way out. Okay, he's getting to that point. Okay, but I said my goodbyes yesterday to them because I'll never go back because the same thing they're in that mode. They're stuck. They're religious. Anyway, so barely even acknowledged that I was there, and then some guy was coming over to fix something in their beautiful house. Right? Their whole thing has been they worship their house, and their house has always made them happy. Some guy was coming over to fix it. So, I mean, they hadn't seen me in 2 years. But, supposedly they were my in-laws and they loved me and all that stuff, right? Even as an ex-in-law, son-in-law, right? They could barely even sit down. They wouldn't even talk to me hardly. So I go in there and I tell them all this stuff. When somebody tells you, I told them I bought my house and paid cash for it in Klamath Falls, right? Not even congratulations, not even barely even acknowledging that I bought a house and paid cash for it. I mean, it's exciting. Total strangers go, wow, congratulations about your house. You know, it's a huge deal, but they didn't even acknowledge it, say anything. Like when I told them I bought a house and paid cash for it, just kept talking. Oh, yeah, 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 oh, yeah. And I go, you want to go see my Harley out there? Never even would look at my Harley. I mean, a beautiful bike. And I paid cash for it too. Never acknowledged that I had accomplished all this stuff. I mean, I bought my house and paid cash for it. I bought, just nothing. Okay. And then the guy comes over to fix the house, right? And then he goes off, won't even talk to me anymore. I left him. The guy wouldn't even say goodbye to me. He's too busy getting his little trinket fixed in that beautiful house they got, right? But that's how they've been their whole life. When I was married to him, they would, you couldn't even sit on the couch in the living room without freaking the mother out. And she hasn't changed one iota. I sat at the table for about 5 minutes with her. Oh no, I went downstairs. She wanted to show me her old piano that she bought that they'd never ever used. Right? She never played it. Anyway, so she goes, I go, I play piano. Oh, how long you been playing piano? I said like 7 years. And then, so I said, you got any music? And I only play by music. I can't play by ear. So she had a music book and, books. So I pulled out one. I started playing and she's like, oh no, I don't know that song. Don't play that. And I was playing Bach. Okay. Or, one of the composers been dead for years. And then so I quit playing that. And then she's like, play me something I know. She won't even listen to me play Bach. Okay, but that's how they've been their whole life. She has no idea. Okay, and it's like that's what's wrong with those people. because the only thing makes her happy is that house she's got and money, dinero, and all her. Okay, so she got all this jewelry, diamonds, gold. It's all in her bedroom, right? In a jewelry box. And the guy that was fixing the house was had to be in that bedroom for whatever reason. So they watched him like a hawk. They wouldn't they couldn't let him just do his job because they were afraid that he was going to steal the jewelry out of the jewelry boxes in the bedroom. So Ken never even said goodbye to me. He's too busy worried about that jewelry. 91 years old. Okay. And then I tried to show her a video because all my stuff's up on YouTube. I'm making a video right here. You see my stuff. It comes in with piano. I tried to show her something I didn't even bring my phone with me, on YouTube. And she goes, oh no, oh no, no, I don't want to watch that right now. But she's never ever even acknowledged that I'm even a musician. And the other thing I told her about self-esteem, I said, I was in a toxic relationship for 3.5 years and I left. And the reason I even got in that relationship because I had no self-esteem. And then she starts proceeding to tell me how to have self-love, right? And I never did get to the point where I got to tell her she has no self-esteem. Her her family's all dysfunctional. Okay, her had 2 kids and they're off in La La Land, my ex-wife, and they're all dysfunctional. So anyway, it was just a learning. It was just more truth for me. And I'm not going back. I'm not, I just have to separate myself because I cannot be around uh, that whole thing. And it doesn't even matter because I can't have them trying to make me out to be uh, a bad person because I'm on the internet teaching self-esteem. They don't understand it. So I can't be around people like that. Anyway, then they did the same thing to their 2 kids that this book talks about. I don't know what happened, but it's all swept under the rug. Whatever happened between the father, the mother, and the 2 daughters. Okay. Everything's swept under the rug. And that's how that she's 88, he's 91. A lot of sexual abuse went on with that age group. It was weird. Uh, anyway, big TV watchers, religious, all the weak ego stuff. The new always had new cars, never had to live in a car, nothing like moi. Okay. Anyway, so here we go. If the parent is still abusing you, get out of the sick system. It's twisted. Practice self-esteem and stay away from discouraging others. And that's why I went off on that tangent. I'm staying away from people that discourage me. Make yourself strong and secure and loved and change your dependence to independence. And that's exactly what I've done. Because I used to always try to impress those people. And it never does any good. And I got more proof of it yesterday by going up there. And I knew it was going to happen that way. Give yourself what you need and want so that you need and want nothing from this parent. They were like my parents, okay? So I don't need nothing. I went up there, they were going to abuse me again. And she did. She said stuff to me already. Just like within 5 minutes, she started talking to me about, oh, it's your fault you were with it's your fault you started drinking when you were with your wife. Because I told her one thing, that I wouldn't drink in the relationship and that my wife would always not drink. And I always tried to tell her not to drink. Oh, that's your fault. It's your fault. Don't blame that on her that you drank. Those were her exact words to me. I was trying to make the marriage work, so I drank with her. But this ex mother in law to me, her husband, Ken, was a raging alcoholic most of his life. Okay, I don't know what. I don't. Maybe he still drinks. He was always trying to get me to drink with him, offer me a drink. As soon as I would go over there, because he's hiding masking all his pain. And then her mother was abusive to her. Okay, I mean it's like twisted. This stuff just goes and it goes and it keeps going. Only when you are free of fear and clean from the neediness can you risk interaction with him or her. Do not try confrontation unless you have support. Do not try to be a therapist or a teacher for your parent. Remember, you can be angry and deal with this anger constructively without dealing directly with this parent. You have the right to be angry at your parent, but you have an even bigger responsibility to yourself to take care of yourself. Let go of your past fears and get on with your own life and get out and away from these people that do this to you. Once you no longer need your parent for survival, you no longer need to be dependent. Your inner child now has you and has you to parent it. You can be fearless, and you can. You got to get this book, folks. It'll cure you of all your mental problems, your psychological disorders, personality disorders, cure you of alcoholism. If you smoke pot, you never smoke pot again. That's the big one I find. I met this woman yesterday, right? My age. And God keeps me running into these people. And she actually invited me in. She was telling me, "Oh, I've never invited people in my house." And I had stopped to look at a car that was sitting there for sale, which happens to be her son. And so I started talking to her a little bit. And then that turned into, she invited me to her house. And she's a yoga person. But anyway, so I'm talking to her. She seems really nice and everything. And she was telling me how she doesn't trust men and thinking that men are gonna, you know, like I'm like the first guy she's ever invited to her house, probably in years, I guess. Anyway, so we were talking and all that, and then I saw a pot pipe. I go, or no, she brought it up, or she asked me if I smoke pot or something. I go, no, I don't. I mean, I don't want it. I don't need it, okay? Because it takes you out of the reality of life. Pot does. And everybody uses pot, okay? It's not that it became legal in Oregon, right? They use it, and what they're really using it for, which they're in denial of, they're masking some kind of pain and emotional pain in their life, okay? That's what's going on when you're using pot. So if you're smoking pot, quit smoking pot. You'll never get the natural high for an artificial high. And the artificial high comes from God. You can never get it. And people are using, I've always called coffee, the opiate of the masses. People are using caffeine to mask the pain too, to mask it. It's true. It's a stimulant. It makes you feel better. That's why people, first thing you do is grab a cup of coffee when they get up in the morning. And if you smoke, you grab a cigarette to go with it. And then next thing you do is you go turn on the morning news, whether it's on the radio or TV. So you get your drugs, which, you get a stimulant. The nicotine gets that serotonin in your brain for you're calm, right? That's why people get all stressed out and they light up a cigarette, right? The serotonin, it does something in your brain, calms you down. So you got the coffee, a stimulant, the nicotine, a calming effect, because the caffeine's a stimulant. And then you get your morning dose of brainwashing, which are filling your brain with subliminal messages telling you that you're a nasty person. But anyway, so but I am clean and sober of a toxic relationship for pushing 8 months now. I'll never get in another unhealthy relationship. I won't do that to my inner child. And that's the other thing. We all have an inner child. You cannot get self esteem unless you parent your inner child. And you can do that with mirror therapy. When you say, I love you in the mirror, and keep doing it daily, say, I love my inner child. I will never, ever harm you again. And I will take care of you, my inner child. Say those two things daily. Then get the book, The Portable Therapist. Douglas Bickford will have more later for you. I'll have a great day.